On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We got a bunch of people that are going to knowingly, well, they're going to, in a stupid way, fall off the Ratcliffe. Yeah. And it's kind of a funny last name. I don't mean to disparage the guy. He's had to grow up with that last name. I'm sure he's been teased for it numerous times. But from the standpoint of the CIA, who he's now in charge of, or going to be in charge of, the fact that his name's got Rat and Cliff in the same sentence is oddly appropriate, because we will see a number of those rats either A, forced to jump from the cliff, will choose to fall from the cliff, or might just be pushed off the cliff. Either way, they're gone. We got a lot of people that are talking tough talk. We've got a whole bunch of people that Trump has already said he's going to use in his cabinet. I got a small warning, too, that we're going to talk about. I'm going to let this play out, what Trump is choosing. There's already a lot of people that are trying to talk, trying to make waves, trying to, in one case, asked me to make ripples of something that I don't agree with. So I'm not going to make ripples about who Trump's choosing. I trust who Trump is choosing. I don't know any better than he does, and I'm guaranteeing the people that are talking about it don't know any better. Great example, Tulsi Gabbard. She was part of the World Economic Forum, what was it, like 2015 or something like that? Doesn't mean we shouldn't trust her. Elon Musk was part of a family that was definitely deep state. They've changed their minds as well, including his mom. So again, people's histories are their histories. In a lot of cases, people have worked for the CIA. I don't trust the CIA. Does that mean we don't trust them at all? Well, they have a higher standard to live by, that's for sure. But a lot of the times, you've had to walk through the fire in order to understand the fire. And that is where I think we're at. We need people that understand the situation, understand government, and understand how it works, and maybe even to the point where they've been in some of these places and maybe didn't like it, maybe felt uncomfortable. Whatever the case is, I think Trump's going to put people in place right now that are going to try to help forward this agenda that's probably going to be very quickly paced, very out there on the edge, and is likely going to piss a lot of people off. And he's trying to get around the bureaucracy or deep state. So how this plays out, we'll see. I'd like to think we're all a part of it, but I do want to just kind of remind people that I'm in this fight for the long haul, and I do trust Trump, and I honestly consider it a waste of time to try to talk me out of accepting his choices for appointments. So again, not a lot of you have done this. A few of you have, and one of you responded rather well. I was expecting worse, so good job there. But yeah, again, there's definitely some people out there that I don't trust that are making a lot of noise right now. And I don't want to call them out because I don't think that's cool. But at the same time, I'm sure as hell not going to trust them. So if you get lucky and have that conversation with me, I'll tell you the truth always when it's an individual thing, but I won't go public with it. Needless to say, Biden has met with Trump in a short little meeting that didn't last. Oh, no, this was actually, they did have a meeting, but this is the reporter asked Biden a very messed up question, and Biden's answer was kind of stupid, kind of funny, and definitely messed up. But hey, there you go. It's Joe Biden on his way out the door.
President Biden, do you think that you can get a hostage deal by the end of your term?
You think you can get hit in the head by a camera behind you? All right. Thank you all.
Do you think you can avoid getting hit in the head by the camera behind you? Kind of funny. Kind of funny. Something that many of you may not have thought. I certainly didn't. This is a great little perspective. Not sure if it's correct, but Tori says brought this up. What if the FEMA camps are to house all the illegal migrants to deport them? Or what if we used them for that? What if that's maybe what they were always going to be used for? I don't know. I think that's kind of going extreme because I do think the FEMA camps, and I do believe they exist, I do think the FEMA camps were actually created for what happened in COVID. I just don't think it played out when it was supposed to. It didn't play out as long as it was supposed to. Trump was not supposed to be there. We weren't supposed to have a vaccine. There was a whole lot, and I don't think the vaccine helped, by the way. It messed up the deep state's plans extensively. Extensively. And I think that was their answer was, let's just make gobs of money and see if we can make people sicker anyways. But whatever the case was, I think they were made for nefarious purposes, but gee whiz, wouldn't it be funny if they got reapportioned or reappropriated for the deep state and trying to help deal with those things. Apparently, Biden's going to meet with China's Xi at the Peru summit ahead of the Trump tariffs and COVID reparations push. I don't know if the last minute of trying to work out a deal, trying to get some money for his family. Who freaking knows? I don't think there's anything Biden can offer at all. I mean, I don't know. Is he going to give state secrets like, oh, here's our nuclear missile codes? Like, I just don't know. I don't think he's got that information, but I don't trust Biden, and certainly don't think she has the United States' best interests in mind. That's for sure. But we'll see how these things continue to play out. This was, Eric Adams. Dude, this dude's starting to impress me. Now, I don't know, but he's getting effed by the deep state as well. But he keeps kind of saying stuff that's like, damn, dude, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And in fact, my next video, which is very funny, ties into this. And I think it's the way he would want to respond. I say that tongue-in-cheek. There's been some videos I've been watching that some birds, like parrots and stuff, that are reasonably talkative. So we've got a video, I think, that's a perfect example of probably how Eric Adams wanted to respond. But his response was priceless.
Two questions. First, you've predicted that mass deportations won't happen in New York City.
You said, I'm sorry.
You have predicted that mass deportations won't happen in New York City.
I predicted that?
Yes, you've said that they won't happen here.
Okay, I don't know about predicted, but go ahead.
Do you think that they will happen here?
We're going to do everything possible to make sure that people are treated in a dignity and humane way that we've done for these last few years.
Okay, so then my question is, how can migrant New Yorkers be sure that they won't happen here, given that ICE can make arrests in New York City without police cooperation? And then the second question is, why should New Yorkers, including migrant New Yorkers, trust that you will advocate for them with the new Trump administration, given that you have a personal stake in winning the president's favor? Okay,
a couple of things. Do you think every New Yorker believes there should not or should be mass deportation? Do you believe every New Yorker believes that?
No, but you have said you don't think there should be.
Yeah, but you said, how can I advocate for New Yorkers? So I should only advocate for one type of New Yorker or all New Yorkers?
Well, that's tough. I don't think you can advocate for all New Yorkers.
Oh, really? Okay, so which New Yorker I shouldn't advocate for? The ones that agree with you or disagree with you?
Well, if you believe there should be no mass deportations, how can people believe that you will advocate for that with the incoming Trump administration?
Yeah, but you set up a question. This is very interesting, the question you set up. So there's certain New Yorkers I shouldn't advocate for?
I'm not sure that was my question. My question was, why should New Yorkers trust that you will advocate for them with the administration?
Let's go back again. There's some New Yorkers, there are people who stop me on the street and says, I voted for the president.
Yeah, maybe some people don't see it quite like that. But this is the thinking in the people on the left's minds. It's either their way or the highway. Now, funny thing is we're kind of going to be pushing down that same avenue, except we are actually the majority. And if we are, which I pray, able to sort of get a very valid cleaning of voter rolls and actual votes, I don't know how this is going to play out or how it can legally play out. This has never happened before and needs to happen now. But how that plays out, we'll see. But there is this thinking. You should only listen to those that believe what I'm suggesting you should believe. Now, again, here's where I think Eric Adams probably wanted to respond.
Here. I think we got it. I think we got it, Paula. We got it. That's the best thing that's ever happened. Oh, you don't like those cages either, hey? That's what it needs. Another one. These cages shouldn't even be in production, right? So, we've made this cage. No. We've made this cage good enough. Exactly. We can throw it exactly where it belongs, right, Pebble? Right in the garbage.
Now, I think he says the F word a whole bunch, but he doesn't pronounce it very well. But needless to say, that's hilarious, watching that bird all pissed off. At first, when I watched it, I'm like, oh, he's going to be mad that he destroyed his home. No, the bird seems mad at the home, and I'm thinking the owner has actually just made the bird happy. Actually, I've watched this guy in particular. This is a rescue bird. He was actually with somebody that was kind of abusive, fought a lot with people inside, just treated this poor animal not very well, cussed at it a bunch. So it learned some very salty words, if you will. Needless to say, I think it's funny. Again, more coming up, folks. Bitcoin surpassed $91,000 mark. This is huge. It's going to be giant probably still until it isn't. That's still my again, folks, I don't know. Some of this I think is confirmation bias, whatever. I am under the impression that the deep state system is coming down. How that happens exactly, we'll see. The Federal Reserve is a private organization that currently prints our money, the Federal Reserve notes. It has been incorporated into the Treasury. I don't know exactly what that means, but there is concern, one, around the stock market. Two, there's concern around the dollar and the strength of it. It's gone down 25% since Biden's been in office. Literally, it's lost 25% of its buying power since Biden's been in office. Not good. Not good at all. So a lot of people are getting into Bitcoin and stuff. They think this is a kind of a good store of wealth. I don't know. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's valuable, and its perceived value by people is just the fact that people believe that you can use it and it will be there, and it's a currency that you can trust. It's not backed by anything. I know there's some exchanges that back things by gold, but Bitcoin itself is not backed by anything other than the trust of humanity. Precious metals, you guys know me. I think they're kind of a cool thing. And I think the way the world's going, this is kind of why I've sort of positioned to that. I think it's better than stocks. I think it's better than cash. And I don't like crypto. I really don't. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. I don't like the digital wallets, all that nonsense. And then the fact that they've changed the EULAs and then require reporting to the government. I haven't agreed to any of those EULAs since they've come out. So I haven't had to report anything as far as that. But I also can't get to it either. Kind of a catch-22. It's up to you. But this is one of the reasons why I've turned to my very good friends at Goldco. I love what they're doing. I love why they're doing it. And I do think this is a smart way forward. If you've got a 401k or an IRA and you want to get out of it, you can get out tax-free and penalty-free. You can get into a precious metals IRA, which is known to protect wealth through turbulent times. Like I've said, I'm kind of in the thinking process that we are in turbulent times. We have a deep state that doesn't really want to seem to let go, and they are fighting every step of the way. These are tough decisions that many of us will have to make. If by chance you decide to go down this path, highly again recommend Goldco. I am a Goldco partner, very proud to be a member with them. And also, they are incredibly good at what they do. Their customer service is bar none. So if you are going to go through this, you want to be able to ask questions. You want to be able to ask a lot of questions. You want to feel comfortable in the decision you're doing, because kind of a radical decision considering what we've been told our whole lives. That's one of the things to keep in mind as well. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Their system is, well, it's questionable. And I know we can't promise anything and we have no guarantees, and I'm not trying to say this is going to happen. I don't know. And like I said, confirmation bias might be. But precious metals have always protected through crazy times like this. We've seen the prices of gold and silver spiking at this time. And when you go back historically, especially silver's very sensitive. It spikes every time there's any sort of problem. Gold's during the major problems. And funny thing is, they're both spiking right now. Sometimes things just speak for themselves. Let my good friends at Goldco help you through this process. They can help you, and they can help you get it done quickly. Get out of that 401k, get out of that IRA, protect it with precious metals, physical metals in a trust, tax-free, penalty-free. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they're able to get out of you. All right, some deep state stuff going on here. Just kind of a funny little image. Pope Francis, this is a direct quote when he's speaking about Donald Trump. Anyone who only thinks about building walls and not about building bridges is not a Christian. It's a grave sin to reject illegal migrants in their countries. says the dude that's got this giant ass wall that completely surrounds the Vatican. What do you mean, Pope? Sorry, Mr. Pope. Popety Pope. Mr. Popester. I am Catholic. I was brought up Catholic anyway. I am technically confirmed as a Catholic, but I stopped going to church a while back. So whatever. Call me what you want. Stained. I'm a stained individual. That's what I am. But yeah, giant wall is what it sure looks like, a giant wall, because I see something just on the other side of it. Kind of how walls work. Not sure. Elizabeth Warren says Trump is breaking the law by not signing the GSA ethics agreement. I don't know. Apparently this agreement's been around for some time, but she talked about how, I don't know, she made some sort of change to it. She says she wrote the law. I don't know. It seems like there's, I mean, and again, would it be like her to make up stuff? No, it would not be unlike her anyways to make stuff up. Let's see if I can actually find that again. Do I have a chance of finding it? There we go. Where'd it go? So many confusions. But yeah, this team, let's see, this plan came into place. I want to say the pledge had not been made public, although in 2019, Congress required that all candidates must create and publicly post their ethics plan in order to ensure that the public and lawmakers know how eligible presidential candidates will address their own conflicts of interest during a presidential term. What's kind of funny is when you think about all the stuff that the Hunters, or the Bidens, were involved with, when you talk about letting, publicly address their own conflicts of interest, wouldn't you say the conflicts of interest they had with Ukraine, with Burisma and all that, with China, and with the couple other countries that they were tied up with? Wouldn't you say that should have ended up in this GSA report? So is this GSA report kind of nonsense, or is it just something you said? But the Presidential Transition Act of 1963 is what governs the presidential transition process. At the time, Congress stated their reasons for drafting the act, saying any disruption occasioned by the transfer of the executive power could produce results detrimental to the safety and well-being of the United States and its people. Over the years, the act has been amended and updated. In short, the law requires the General Services Administration, government organization, to provide office space and other core support services to President-elect and Vice President-elect, as well as pre-election space and support to eligible candidates. The act also requires the White House and agencies to begin transition planning well before the presidential election, benefiting both first and second term administrations. Now, them wanting to provide the space would obviously be heavily bugged. So again, whatever. I don't know if Trump has publicly said what he's going to do. I think he's said a lot of things publicly on X and Twitter. So whatever, this will probably go to court, and it probably doesn't have any of the teeth that Pocahontas wants it to have. Fresh off prison release, former Trump advisor Bannon due back in court. This answered a question I had, by the way, the other day. This is very unfortunate. But in the final hours of his first 4-year term in January 2021, Trump pardoned Bannon on federal charges brought in 2020 over the same underlying conduct. The following year, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, secured a 4-count indictment of Bannon on charges including money laundering, conspiracy, and scheme to defraud. Presidential pardons do not prohibit state prosecutions. I was wondering about that, which kind of comes into play with the California tax thing that Biden's going through. You see, that can't be pardoned. Just can't be. Unless Gavin Newsom does it, which might be woefully unpopular. But if Bannon is convicted at trial, Trump would not be able to pardon him after returning to the White House on January 20th. So again, now we've got New York going after somebody else. It's only going to be Trump. We're not going by anyone else. Well, how about we're only going to go after people that are pro-Trump? Okay. Now we're talking about over half the country. Sounds like New York has a problem with over half the country. Now, again, I am not going to back up Bannon. This he supposedly did. I don't know. There was some weird stuff going on and how some of the money was used. So, again, Steve Bannon, if you did stuff with the money that you shouldn't have, man, that's effed, And I get you've done so much for this country in so many ways, shapes, and forms. But if you have actually broken the law, I don't know. We'll see. The fact that New York's going after you, obviously a big stink red eye on them, because, of course, we've seen them do it with Trump, and we know you're probably not going to get a very fair trial. But this is concerning. And again, I don't want to pretend I understand the full story. I do remember back that had a lot to do with some money was borrowed and utilized to pay for something kind of significant, and then everything else went to the wall like it was supposed to. So again, it's just more examples of how the deep state continues to do deep state-ish stuff. New York judge on Tuesday declined to immediately postpone Steve Bannon's December 9th trial on charges that he defrauded supporters. Let's see, there's the part down here. Judge April Neubauer, she left open the possibility of moving the trial date, but only after a hearing Monday about additional evidence prosecutors want to introduce. Prosecutors said the introduction of the new evidence would not add any time to the people's case, which is estimated to last about 1 week. So it sounds like we'll hear more about this in the very near-term future. Demonstrators with Nazi flags target a Michigan production of the Diary of Anne Frank. Sounds like we had our Fed friends show up again. It looks like our little khaki friends, right? I forget the name of the stupid group. I don't know if it's actually them or not, or just a bunch of wannabes. But yeah, of course, Nazi flags. Of course, we're spouting pro-Trump stuff, of course, right? Again, folks, we know they're going to do this. It's all right. We're just going to keep pushing forward with the message, keep pushing forward with the big picture. Here's a good little clip of stuff of the deep state and how they were trying to help Kamala Harris and how they didn't think she was going to win. And just, I don't know, it was a pretty good little O'Keefe media group. It's only a couple minutes, which for him is short, thank God. It's pretty good, though. Check it out.
I like Kamala Harris, but I don't think she'd win this year. You kind of tell a donor what they want to hear.
Which is what?
Whatever they want to hear.
Go to Google. They're reorienting the search engine such that Kamala is more, favored.
The vast majority of what fact checkers label as false is shared by conservatives.
Okay, so like the mainstream media does the job for you, but
Basically.
okay.
I had one question about drop-off ballots. Are we allowed to say anything? Because it is a felony for people to turn in ballots outside their home.
No.
After Maricopa County sent us a threatening letter, we have published our legal letter in response to Maricopa County. They're trying to suggest that citizen journalism is election interference. And the problem with people like you, that's why this country is in such bad shape. Because we're dealing with corrupt officials who play footsie with the legacy media when they should be investigating you. Are you Juliesa?
Yo sí puedo, aunque no sea residente ni ciudadana.
This is a story about an official with an NGO who is telling someone that they can vote if they're not a resident. That's the story. I'm not the story. And she got confirmation that yes, in fact, she can vote with nothing but an ITIN number. Here at OMG, we have hundreds of people who've signed up to be a poll watcher, and they want our hidden cameras. Quote, this project could be encouraging volunteers to violate numerous state laws regarding recording at polling places, voter privacy, election interference, intimidation and harassment of election officials, and consensual recording. We literally put on X and our website not to intimidate voters. We posted what not to do to the world. It's a fight of good versus evil, isn't it? It's no longer about left versus right or anything. It's good versus evil, truth versus fiction. That's where we are in this country.
Yeah, that's exactly where we are in this country. It's going to be an interesting Thanksgiving this year, I have a feeling. God, I hope my mom hasn't shaved her head. We'll find out. Thune was elected Senate Majority Leader. In fact, Scott got booted in the first round, so he didn't have a chance, interestingly. From what we understand, if Thune does not, do what we say, then we will likely just push back, right? We'll likely just we'll get rid of him and get somebody else in there. So we'll see how it plays out. He'd served as Senate Republican whip, the number 2 ranking position in the Senate GOP leadership since 2019, and largely managed operation of the Senate floor after McConnell suffered a concussion from the fall. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say. He definitely was one that we didn't want to vote for. John Cornyn specifically was going after Ken Paxton, very recently even, and trying to help bring him down. So we do believe very strongly that Senator John Cornyn is tied into the deep state directly. Whether that changes, I guess we shall see soon. But I would imagine there's a way to get a vote of no confidence. I don't know how many would need to vote for that in order to throw up the leadership of the Senate, but this might be one of the battles we've got in front of us. There will be many. This sounds like this is going to be one of them. We'll get there when we get there. This is also good. As long as Thune, oh, here it is. Cool. This is what I was meaning to say. As long as Thune plays ball with Trump and gets his cabinet filled quickly, he's still better than the turtle. So we'll see. If he doesn't help, we'll remove him. But he could actually slow down Trump's appointments significantly. We'll find out. We'll find out. Again, what recourse we have, I don't know. I'm not, yeah. It's going to be a battle, folks. Don't think it's just going to be easy. Nope. Not even close. FEMA, this is an oversight committee. They're in doing an investigation, and we'll be talking to that FEMA administrator, Deanne Criswell. She's going to be testifying before their committee next Tuesday. They look forward to hearing what she has to say about these allegations of how they were skipping houses that were obvious Trump supporters. Pretty messed up. Also, House Judiciary is doing an investigation. They're bringing in Chris Wray, or someone, probably him though, to talk about this tool that is being used. They've heard about this tool, and it's used to look into different posts by different groups or to find specific posts that maybe, I don't know, are talking about something that they think is like subject of the day or something they're concerned about. I don't know. There's some tool. And the House Judiciary wants to ask questions about it. I'm going to tell you straight up. Any tool that Christopher Wray has is definitely not going to be talked about to the House, at least in public. Maybe in a classified setting with the people that are cleared to hear it, maybe, but not to the public. There's no way, zero chance he gives us any info on this tool because it's probably currently used in law enforcement stuff, right? That's what he's going to say, but whatever. Congress is looking into it. Jack Smith plans to step down as special counsel before Trump takes office. I mean, he knows he's fired otherwise, but I'm almost surprised they're not going to have Trump fire him. I feel like that would, I don't know, they'd spin it. I mean, they'd have some spin room there, that's for sure. But whatever, Jack Smith plans on stepping down. Now, the other side of this, and this is what I think will happen, is he will step down and he will destroy evidence of anything he did. Because that's what the deep state does. They destroy evidence. We'll see what Ratcliffe and some of these others decide to do about that. But for now, that's what we're hearing. He's going to step down. House Republicans are signaling plans to launch a new wide-reaching investigation into the Biden administration, asking every outgoing cabinet secretary to preserve relevant department documents and communications. We'll see how smooth this transition actually is. Because there's a lot of stuff that's happened that probably shouldn't have. And let's see how open you are. Because again, I think a lot of this stuff's going to be destroyed. And then they're going to be like, I don't know, we don't have it anymore. Oh, we smashed those phones. Hillary Clinton got away with it. Nobody ever gets in trouble for destroying evidence. The January 6th committee, once we got control of the House, didn't matter. Didn't matter. Just, we admit publicly that they destroyed evidence, sure. What happens from it? Nothing? No. So why aren't we talking about the fact that your investigations don't mean shit then? Obviously they don't. It's going to be so... we're going to have our highs and lows, folks. This is not going to be easy over the next couple of years. It's just, for any of you guys that have put your guards down, I very, very much feel for you because you're going to get smacked in the face here by something at some point in the near future. Jim Jordan on Wednesday demanded the FBI declassify information related to an alleged 2020 attempt by the intelligence community to obstruct Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson's early probes into Hunter Biden. Literally were blocked. They knew the laptop was real, but they still blocked it anyways. Again, if Chris Wray is good, I can't wait to hear him finally talk. And if Chris Wray is bad, I can't wait to see him replaced with probably Kash Patel. I've said it before. I think he would be more fit for like the FBI or something like that. I thought the CIA was an odd choice. He's obviously not in charge of the CIA, which is obviously why we don't listen to any of the speculation. I don't know. I probably saw 15 stories today speculating about all sorts of people when it comes to appointments. I grabbed 0 of those stories. Why? Because so far, all the speculation has been wrong. That's why. And then people debate it, which is just wasted energy. So, yeah, not going to be involved with that nonsense. All right, here's my little warning section. First off, disclaimer. Only trust Trump's Truth Social posts when it comes to cabinet appointments. Do not take it just from, I don't know, I think I've got a couple examples of ways that I probably should have went back to Trump's truth, and I'll start being better about this come tomorrow. But yeah, you got to be careful where you get the info. If you see something that seems strange that's been posted, go to his Truth Social and see if you can find it there. If you can, then count on it. If you can't, or he's given that position to someone else, then yes, you have bad information. Then make a mental note about the individual that posted or shared that bad information. If those people continue to inform you improperly 2, 3, 4, 5 times, they're out. Don't ever listen to them again. That is how we get better at this. I don't give people 5 times, I'll tell you that. People usually get about twice to give me real bad information, and you're done. You get blocked. I'm never going to see an email from you again. Like, that's just what happens. So I just don't have time. I get way the fuck too many emails to be wasting time with people that just want to try to ruffle my feathers or get a debate or ask me to explain shit in large details. Like, I don't have enough time. I do videos. That's how I interact with the masses. I'm not going to spend half an hour on an email to one person. That doesn't work. It's a bad use of my time. I'm first off come a long way, by the way. I did another law of attraction voice recording, VO, voiceover. Trying to get the sessions recorded out so I can at least pre-record a few of the sessions so I can catch up to where Alpha and I were. And then I'm going to start doing live shows. I think Tuesday is my plan. We'll start doing a live show and we'll cover the law of attraction stuff for a while because it's just something fun, and it's actually why I created this channel to begin with. I didn't want it to be tied up with my spiritual manifesting channel. I wanted it to be sort of its own thing so they wouldn't, so I wouldn't get judged in a weird way. By the way, that audience, I love that channel, and I don't tell them ever. I don't ever tell them about this channel, but I tell you guys about that channel because they are some of the most judgmental people on the planet that like my channel. And so politics was something I never touched because I knew I would immediately piss off about 2/3 of my audience. I got a whole bunch of soft lefties over there that just, love me. There's plenty of people that, are, I think, similar too, but again, the games we play. So only trust stuff coming from Trump. Now, this is also cool. President-elect Donald Trump threw his support behind House Speaker Mike Johnson during a meeting with the House Republicans on Wednesday, likely quelling any last-minute rebellion for his bid as Speaker. Now, one thing I want to point out again, for all the people that couch quarterbacked the House choice and saying Johnson was horrible and making all sorts of noise about how Johnson was wrong and Johnson was a bad choice, I've said numerous times, I think he's actually done an admirable job. I think it's not easy being Speaker of the House, and I'm happy with the work he's done. Even though a whole bunch of people have all these different reasons. Well, he was part of this and this and this, and he voted this way on this thing 12 years ago, whatever. Again, this is all part of I kind of don't care. If Trump says he's good, that's it, done. I don't care. For right now, I'm just going all in. I've been fighting for Trump for solid 3 years now. I mean, longer, but really fighting for him and letting him have every ounce of airtime on my channel I can give him just to help with this movement. Yeah, I'm going to let him fill his cabinet and tell us who he thinks is right for the job, and then we'll go from there and then hold these people accountable like nobody's business. So again, this is kind of what brought a lot of this to my mind too. It was unclear to many if Western civilization would fall just weeks ago. Instead, Trump won and a new golden age is emerging. Complaining about Trump's picks is asinine, considering just how deep in a pit we've been. I'm just grateful that the best days are coming. Is that a fair perspective? And I 100% agree with Ultra Pepe Lives Matter. 100%. That's where we are right now. And honestly, my opinion, anybody that's besmirching the choices that are being made, anybody that is pushing negative stuff about the people that are in right now, I would very much highlight them, be aware of them, and understand and pay attention to the messages they keep pushing. Because that's a good indicator for many of you who you shouldn't trust right now. And again, not calling people out, but some of the names that are being thrown at me, I'm like, oh my God, of course them. Why wouldn't it be them? So again, just be on the lookout, guys. We are going through a psyop from both sides, hardcore, And a lot of people keep falling for the deep state's work. All right, whole bunch of appointments going on. Rep. Mike Waltz, he was appointed. We talked about it. He responded. He said, I am deeply honored President Trump is placing his trust in me to serve in his cabinet as National Security Advisor. There is no higher calling than defending our nation's values, freedoms, and safety of every American. Together with President Trump and his team, we will confront the evolving challenge of today's world and hold firm against those who would harm our way of life. Our nation deserves nothing less than bold, unwavering leadership, and that's what he will deliver. America will keep its allies close. We will not be afraid to confront our adversaries, and we will invest in technologies that keep our country strong. America's great strength is in booming economy and our energy dominance, and those tools will keep us out of wars and allow us to once again lead from a position of strength. I fully believe that America's best days are still ahead, and that with President Trump America First agenda, we will secure our freedoms and forge a future where our nation remains the land of the free and the land looked to for leadership and courage by the rest of the world. So that's good stuff as well. Statement from Trump. He's pleased to announce he has appointed Stephen C. Witkoff to be special envoy to the Middle East. So yada yada, Steve likes all these people. Now again, this is Trump-Vance transition team. I don't think this came specifically from Truth, though. This is one of the things that's actually been faked before. People have actually managed to fake these easily, but today we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, I did okay. But Stephen C. Witkoff, special envoy to the Middle East. We got some more stuff here. I am pleased to announce the former director of national intelligence, John Ratcliffe. So he is DNI. Sorry, Ratcliffe, I called him CIA, whatever. Oh, okay, but he's going to be serve as director of the CIA. John will serve as the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. So Ratcliffe, definitely a good choice. I got a couple little snippets of Ratcliffe being badass. Here is a recent one.
So, John, how do you square this circle? The fact that you're hearing bribery charges against a sitting president, and yet the media and the Biden DOJ is zeroing in and ramping up the heat on former President Trump?
Well, Maria, I don't think it's that they're ignoring it. I think it's that they're scared. Look, you have to keep in mind that they're all co-conspirators in this. They're all complicit in this. What I mean by that is, all of this stuff wasn't, it was the fact that the mainstream media went with all of the things like the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation. They promoted the 51 intelligence officials that were lying. They promoted the Russia collusion story. All of these things, and folks at the Department of Justice and the FBI, they lied to get FISA warrants to spy on the Trump campaign. So they're all, they were all part of this, and they're all complicit in this, and there's so much at stake. And if it unravels, it's not just political folks that will take a fall on this. It's the American people will see it for what it is. Now, so having said that, these are the challenges that President Trump continues to face, with these charges and the trial dates that are coming up. The thing that I would point out to people here is that Donald Trump didn't run for president to run for re-election as president to avoid political charges, as some people are saying. You got to remember, he announced he was a candidate first. He became the front runner first. All of these charges in Georgia, in New York, both Jack Smith cases and the federal cases, they decided to bring charges after Donald Trump became the leading contender in the Republican nomination, which just really underscores why this all continues to be political and why it's all directed at trying to stop him from being reelected.
That's a very important point to keep in mind when having discussions with people, too, is, he's just doing this just to get out of getting in trouble. No, he started running for president first. Y'all went after him because you were trying to stop him from running. So that's not how that actually played out in real life. Now, here's funny. One of the 51 intelligence officials who signed the false letter claiming that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake, that lied, I should say. Well, here's one of them suggesting that maybe they shouldn't do what Trump or Ratcliffe says.
Part of being institutionalist means you believe and subscribe to the view of separation of powers in our constitutional system. And you kind of hit this at the top of the show. We're going to be entering a period in which Donald Trump not only controls the entire executive branch, his party will control the Senate, probably the House, and a significant majority of the U.S. Supreme Court. So anybody who has taken civics understands that when you control all three branches of government with a political party, it's much more challenging to have checks and balances. And so as difficult as it is to contemplate this at this moment, Nicole, I think we have to rely on Republicans, Republican elected officials, Supreme Court justices, and people inside government and outside government who are willing to continue to have checks and balances, to continue to hold the executive branch accountable. If there's an unlawful order given to the United States military, I expect, and I think it will be the case, that uniformed military will not carry out unlawful orders. If these people try to politicize the work of the Central Intelligence Agency, I know the people who work at the Central Intelligence Agency, they will not allow their work to be politicized. They will speak the truth, and the truth will set them free. That's emblazoned on the wall of the original headquarters building at Langley. There's a kind of a mode of operating, a view, a loyalty to the Constitution that honestly is bigger than any other idea of who's in power, who's your commander-in-chief, who's calling the shots in the executive branch. And I think we can have faith in people who believe in these institutions.
So would believing in the institutions be the same thing as, like, you know, taking actual truth that needs to come forward so the public can make a informed decision? When you actually choose to lie about that truth and say it's something that it's not, would you say that's checks and balances? Because what that sounds like to me is illegality, or at the very least, somebody that has zero is bad at his job. So why the fuck would I listen to you anyway then? Either way, I don't know. You help me understand that. Help me please understand how somehow you're doing checks and balances when you're literally lying to the people, and in such a manner and of such a subject that literally after hindsight, when people were polled, said it would have affected the outcome of the last election, 2020. So again, just trying to understand. Ratcliffe is going to put a stop to some of this nonsense, that's for sure. CIA official with top security clearance charged for leaking highly classified docs about Israel's plans to strike Iran. This was an individual overseas. He got arrested and charged, I believe, recently. Let's see, the FBI, he was arrested in Cambodia on Tuesday, over the leaks. So he literally gave information to, the CIA, by the way, just to make sure we're talking the same group. This is some of that checks and balances. Is that what you're talking about also? Where we've got people within the CIA who literally are giving our enemies, because they're deep state just like you fucker? Is this what we're doing? Is that what's happening? I just want to make sure I understand what checks and balances means to the left, because it's confusing. To me, that's kind of what we've been trying to do for the past 2 years. What is all the blood on this image? Good God. That's pretty nasty. Plane covered in blood after unexpected bird strike. Oh, that'll do it. Oh, bits and pieces. I'll tell you what's also freak is when a hawk gets a hold of a bird in your backyard. Oh, man, that's a mess. Yeah. President Trump nominates William Joseph McGinley to serve in his White House counsel. He's pleased to announce that William Joseph McGinley will serve as my White House counsel. Bill is a smart and tenacious lawyer who will help me advance our America First agenda while fighting for election integrity and against the weaponization of law enforcement. He served in my first term as the White House Cabinet Secretary and played a major role in our election victory as the RNC's outside counsel for election integrity. So another great choice. That's awesomeness. Also, we've got, Donald Trump is honored to announce that he has nominated Pete Hegseth. That's the dude from Fox, the military guy from Fox. He's on that show with the four of them in the morning, tall, skinny guy, the chick, the black gentleman, and then Pete. He served as the cabinet as the Secretary of Defense. Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and the country. Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer. We got some stuff from Pete, too. Pete's actually pretty awesome guy. I think. Whoops. Oh, I guess we'll get there. I thought I had Pete coming up, but that's coming. I'm pleased to announce Governor and former Congresswoman from South Dakota, Kristi Noem, will be appointed to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. This is an interesting appointment. A lot of people don't like Kristi. They got a whole slew of reasons why he shouldn't do this one. Or again, don't tell me. I don't care. I hear it. I read it. It's not like you guys are the first people to tell me these things. I see these things. I just don't bring them up because right now I'm not going to. You guys want to disbelieve, disbelieve. But this is a very interesting one because she is definitely one of the people that people scream about. Again, she's smoking hot, though, which that sucks, right? That sucks. Where did all my stuff go? I guess it's coming. I don't know. I thought I had it. I got some stuff somewhere. Pete Hemsworth. I've had a few things from him. Anywho, whatever. Also, pleased to announce great Elon Musk working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy. This is cool. So Vivek and Musk are going to lead the Department of Government Efficiency. That's awesome. Because let's be honest, Musk is entirely too busy, but needs to be involved. And Vivek definitely knows how to run a business, has run major corporations. He's definitely the guy. And they both, I think, are thinking in the same line. So powerful group right there. This is going to give DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, all sorts of kudos and credit, and that's definitely a good thing, in my opinion. All actions of the Department of Government Efficiency, and this is Elon Musk's post, by the way, so all of these actions by them will be posted online for maximum transparency. Anytime the public thinks we are cutting something important or not cutting something wasteful, let us know. We will also have a leaderboard for the most insanely dumb spending of your tax dollars. This will be both extremely tragic and extremely entertaining. Well done. And that's got to be driving the people on the left. This is making a mockery of our government. No, it's making a mockery of the money you guys waste on the left. Absolute mockery of the crap you guys support. Yeah, that for sure we're doing. And then hopefully eventually most of the public is like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. And then the few people that feel mocked will just have to deal with their mockery because it's going to happen and it's going to keep happening. I will try to be, not try to be mean and like make fun of you directly for some weird physical trait that you have that's going to be very specific, right? Like, 'cause that'd be mean. But just to generalize and it happens to fall on you, sorry, you got butt hurt. Of course you did. That's what happens. You get butt hurt every second of every day for stupid stuff. So good. We're making progress. All right, here's some cool stuff. I guess I did have some in here. Trump's new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has a badass "We Are the People" tattooed sprawled on his forearm there. You can see. That's fantastic. Okay, this should have been where it wasn't, but this works. Nonetheless, I was afraid I didn't have it at all. Pete Hegseth was just nominated to serve as Trump's Secretary of Defense. He's talking to Sean Ryan about the first time he almost went down this same path, but I don't know, kind of cool. I didn't know this guy before, sort of knew him from Fox. It's nice to see him now, and like he is,
Let me tell you this. That's exactly right. Nothing you said is wrong. I was in 2016, I was under consideration by Trump to be his VA secretary.
Nice.
I was interviewed multiple times. In fact, I was down to the final two. And, go up to Trump Tower, up the elevator, sit with him, talk about it. And ultimately, I think he thought I was a little young and all that. But I remember he called me at one point in the process, and he said, Pete, I want to pick you. But there's one problem. Why do all the veterans groups hate you? And I sort of laughed. And he goes, no, but they hate you. And I'm like, well, Mr. President, let me tell you why. Because outside the box thinking of, say, providing private choice for veterans is a threat, complete threat to the ecosystem around the government bureaucracy and the VA and the veterans groups. They exist to defend their territory. And they'll say, oh, it's for the betterment of the vets. Well, if vets are getting better treatment from non-conventional places, why aren't we exploring that? Well, the bureaucracy can't handle that. Well, it's not the existing system. It's not where most of the money comes from. It doesn't support the bricks and mortar facilities that they want to keep. The importance becomes keeping the facilities as opposed to what is the treatment that the vets are getting. So I had I had overwhelming support from veterans across the country who were thankful who believed that Veterans Choice would unshackle them from driving 400 miles for a basic treatment when they could get it 10 miles from their house and the government pays for it. Or the idea that if you're abusing a vet, a VA official should be fired. So the solutions are simple. It's choice and accountability. Vets have choice, and people that aren't doing their job or doing it poorly get fired. But they don't serve the interest of their members. It's just like the unions. Like when you go, why does Donald Trump have overwhelming support from union members, but yet the union bosses keep endorsing Joe Biden? It's because they don't actually reflect at some point in Washington, D.C., the interests of their members. They lose touch with the interests of their members because it becomes about perpetuation.
You think we'll ever see any, you think it'll ever improve over there?
Trump tried, and I think he will again. I really do. There was so much currency he had to spend in so many different places in a first term, and he got a lot done on the Mission Act, which is choice, and VA accountability. And he's got great people on the outside watching what Biden has done, and I think when they come back in, God willing, that there's a lot of overhaul to be had there.
Huge amount of overhaul is what's coming. I think we have one more of his. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Here's I think this was a little more recent, but still had Ratcliffe on with him. Kind of a cool little segment. Check this out.
So the hypocrisy of the left, every time they're exposed, there's a new explanation. The new explanation now is that Christopher Steele is a rogue agent. He was just doing his own thing with no direction from anyone else. Based on what you've seen, was there collusion and coordination with Democrats and Christopher Steele, or was he going rogue?
Well, we know that the FBI and the Department of Justice ultimately did terminate the relationship with Christopher Steele because he wouldn't follow the rules and the guidelines with respect to providing them with information. We've, of course, subsequently learned that there are Democrats that have tried to coordinate with Christopher Steele. And so, you know, I don't know the details of the Democratic efforts to get in touch with him, but we do know that Christopher Steele was not a reliable source, and as a result, he provided an unverified dossier that the court relied upon to issue a warrant to spy on an American citizen.
We know that spying occurred, Congressman, briefly. We only have about 15 seconds. Is this the beginning of this scandal, or are we at the end? Where are we on the timeline of the exposure of this?
You know, unfortunately, Chris, much more, Pete, unfortunately, much more to come. I've had the chance to see all of the underlying documents. When the Inspector General report comes out, it's going to identify some more anomalies and things that have happened at the Department of Justice and the FBI that unfortunately are going to make this story continue for some time.
That's an important reminder. The Inspector General's report still due out from the Department of Justice. A lot of what we've learned so far has come from that as well. Representative John Ratcliffe, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I guess it's a big part of why I feel like no matter what, we have to get more of the seats that we technically won but were cheated away from us. We're going to need the numbers big time, especially with some of the shenanigans that they're already planning. So a lot going on. President Trump announces White House senior staff. We got Dan Scavino. We got Stephen Miller. Well, Scavino's going to be his White House as an assistant to the president and deputy chief of staff. Stephen Miller is going to return to the White House as assistant to the president and deputy chief of staff. James Blair will serve as an assistant to them. And Taylor Budowich is going to serve as assistant as well. So some more people that have been called out. Wonderful. President-elect Donald Trump is tapping Florida Senator Marco Rubio as the next Secretary of State. And Capitol Hill vacancy could be created and needs to be filled. So they're looking at who could possibly be filled by it. They're actually trying to court Laura Trump, a lady who's done a very good job being involved with the RNC. That would be an interesting move, and that would kind of force her into the world of politics. But she would probably make a very good senator, and it would be an interesting choice. I'm sure it would piss off many, but we'll see what she ultimately ends up choosing. That might very well be an excellent idea for her, I would think. Her choice to make, of course. I want to remind you guys of these great products. Again, a lot of unhealthy ingredients out there in the world, especially for our little four-legged creatures. In fact, a lot of the toys they have, for that matter, have lead in them. And we do like the flea things on the back of their necks. We put some chemicals in them. We'll give them pills. They get shots just like the rest of us. So they are already kind of treated poorly from the standpoint of health. And as far as I'm concerned, dogs and cats do not live long enough at all, not even close. One way you can majorly help that, especially if you've got a little one that's already kind of got some sickly issues going on with it, I highly recommend Pet Club 247. Pet Club 247 is an amazing company. Of course, Dan Radio Style's your actual coupon code, if you will. But the way to get there, easy, is go danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Check out the different products they have for your dogs, your cats, horses, and people, believe it or not. Actually reminds me, I need to take my pills today. For dogs, they've got a number of choices, especially when it comes to treats. They've got mush puppies. This is kind of the way a lot of people start to get this mushroom. It's a mushroom. It's called Coriolis versicolor. It's got studies. They've got over 400 studies that show huge benefits to the immune system. Huge. In fact, to the point of regressing negative things. Huge results. There's all sorts of people that have talked about how it's worked. Mush puppies is how most people get into the game. Not very expensive way. Very simple product. Essentially a cookie. Dog's going to love it, and he's going to get those mushrooms in his body. Now, this is a mushroom that you can't take too much of. A guy talked about his experience, Eric Baby Trump, Chris Flex, or whatever. He's got like 5 names. He talked about it. He had supposedly a tumor in his neck, took a bunch of the pills, Coriolis versicolor, just high doses, high doses, and made things change. He talked about it. I had a show. You can go back and look for Chris Eriks or Baby Trump. If you've searched that, you should find it on my channel. I did it with him eons ago. So that's how you can get started for your dogs. For cats and dogs both, but cats, they've got a liver treat. Cats like liver. Dogs will eat it too. And that's got that mushroom with it in there. Cats don't like mush puppies. That's just not a thing cats are going to be into. But they've got that. They've got food. They've got special sauce. They've got all sorts of extra ways that you can kick up a number of these Coriolis versicolor pieces in their body. You don't want to just give them like 15 mush puppies a day because that'll probably make them extraordinarily fat. That's not cool. So they've got foods that all have the products in it. They got dry food, canned food. They've got freeze-dried where you add some water to it and it puffs out, gets 4 times bigger, and then it's also kind of moist. It's kind of fun for animals that maybe have some problems chewing on stuff. So you've got a lot of really good options and some great antler sticks for them to chew on, like a stick. Dogs just want a stick. They love sticks. Doesn't matter. So it doesn't have to be made in China. And the fact that it's an antler stick means that when they're gnawing on it to help grind their teeth down and all that good stuff, it's actually putting minerals, calcium, into their body. Yeah. That's healthy for them. Everything these guys do at danradiostyle.petclub247.com, everything they do is all about trying to help the animal be better off. And that animal could be you. So they got mutt mints too. If they got the nasty breath, you're giving them breath mints with the Coriolis versicolor in it. Yes, they've got pet balm. They actually sell this for everything. Cats, dogs, horses, and people. It is a non-genetic, organic, pure, natural, organic, yada, yada. Like just super healthy, organic, natural. Strong products, good stuff. Cats, again, got the same thing, similar food, special sauce, all that good stuff. Horses, they've got mush ponies. And of course, humans, they've got a lot of options, believe it or not. A number of different kinds of pills. Highly recommend you consider it. The gummies are really good. I'm almost empty. They're super good. They have the mushroom in it. You can kind of see it, but you don't taste it. It's amazing. They've also got this coffee. You have to try the coffee. I've got a bag sitting right here, literally. I'm not lying. It's right here, right? I've got to try it. It has the mushroom in it, and it also doesn't have a toxin. It's that toxin that makes you want to pee immediately. Everyone thinks it's because it's a diuretic. It's a diuretic because of that toxin. Your body immediately wants to get rid of that toxin the second it realizes it's in your body, and you immediately start to have to pee when you start drinking coffee. Some suggest this might have something to do with some of the bladder cancers and stuff that exist out there. So something to consider. That toxin's not actually in the coffee. And they've got a couple different versions, dark roast, and they've got a medium roast, and probably even have a decaf in there. Yeah, they do have a decaf. That's the point of drinking that. I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding. Sometimes you shouldn't drink caffeine all day long. So again, they've got some really awesome products. The cookies, I still have yet to open the cookies. I'm dropping shit all over the place just because I don't eat a lot of cookies. Sweet tooth is something I don't have as much. But you give me a bag of Doritos, man, and I will tear that thing up. All said, go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. And yes, I do agree that carbs and sweets are similar. I just prefer to get them in the more complex carb way, which is still not healthy. It just is, it is what it is. I eat a lot of rice, though. It's funny. I don't think rice is bad as people make it out to, but I get it. We don't need to get into that discussion. Here's Donald Trump. The only part of their meeting that was public, but he supposedly hung out and talked with him for about an hour and a half, some are saying. I don't know.
We want to go inside the Oval Office. Let's watch.
In many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Am I the only one? They don't say anything else. It's just blah, 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 blah. And then Trump leans over and says something. Am I the only one that thinks that fire they got in that fireplace is, like, huge? I mean, in a regular house, you probably wouldn't do that. Is it gas? I can't tell. It seems extraordinary. That is a freaking fire. Look at that thing going. Is that even real? Whatever the hell. Yeah, so that was about how long they talked there. 45-47, he left the White House. They chit-chat a little about it. Let's hear their version of it.
And breaking news right now, we did not know how the end of the meeting would look. This is live. This is outside the White House, where President-elect Donald Trump has just left the White House. That's his motorcade right there, after meeting for well over an hour and a half with President Biden. Now, remember, their comments on camera were very short last hour, and we've been playing that for you because this moment in history is huge. Those two men have gotten together. We know that there were expectations of a peaceful transfer. They both talked about that, a peaceful transition. This was the precursor to that, and they both acknowledged that's the goal, and they were, as Trump put it, it's a nice day in the world today. We also know that the First Lady, Jill Biden, handed a letter of purpose about peaceful transition. It's called a letter of readiness, and we have not learned exactly what's in that. So now Trump has left the White House and America.
Sounds like more stupid stuff that they're trying to do, or it's a note back to them like, F you, we've got explosives in every room in the White House. Like, I don't know. I'm being facetious. I'm sure not what Joe Biden said, but probably worse. All stated. Powerful stuff. Moving forward in the right direction. We got to love that. Here is Trump. He did a wonderful little almost 3 minutes. This was right after, to my understanding, right after he met with President Biden, sorry, and had some good words. I have not listened to this yet. I think I got about 15 seconds in. I'm like, well, I'm doing it anyway, so I'll experience it with you guys. Check it out.
Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering, isn't it? Nice. It's nice to win. It's always nice to win. A lot of good friends in this room. So you know we had like historic kind of numbers, especially for the president, but we won't get into that. But the House did very well, and I think we're responsible for 31, helping you with 31, meaning we could have lost by quite a bit, and we ended up, I guess you'll be 5 up. Are you looking at 5 or 4? 5 or 4, right? Doesn't matter. We get used to 1 for a little while. When you can get used to 1, you can get used to anything. So I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. We worked with a lot of you to get you in, and you helped me, and you helped me too. And my numbers were, so they say, the 129 years, the most important election in 129 years. That's pretty good. I said, who is the 129 years? What was that, Doc Ronnie? Who's 129 years ago? I'd never looked because it started at being 100, and then they upped it to that, but it's a great compliment. We won the majority by 7.1 million. We won, which is great because Republicans aren't supposed to be winning the majority, Marjorie. You know that, right? And we won that, and we won it every way, all 7 swing states by a lot. And then Michigan was great. Couldn't be better, I'll tell you. Michigan was great. And we had a couple of people, almost New Jersey is right, just a few points. It's got them very worried because they say, well, next time if we go up even a fraction of what we went up, you're going to win New York, you're going to win New Jersey, you're going to win places that weren't winnable. California, too. I think without one speech, without campaigning at all in California, I think we were lost by 9 points. I mean, 9 points in California, and it's very doable. It would be really doable if they changed the election process, if they.
All right, so there's that.
We're going to see what's happening. They're going to get that shot back, and we'll get it back.
Oh, I was so hoping for better than that. That sucked balls. Yeah, leave it to Fox cameraman. Oh, he's saying too much good stuff. F that. Whatever. Trump draft executive order would create border to purge generals. Trump is preparing to get rid of the TV generals. he's putting a board in place to do exactly that. The purge of the deep state will begin if you are, in fact, a general who it finds treason upon. Kind of works. I hope they move forward in the appropriate manner. Where we're at, how this is played out, and people have done it for money. You sold your country out for money. And most people be like, what difference does it make for me? Yet, it does. Each of us as individuals, it makes difference. Every time you're tempted by, let's say, the devil. Let's call it that, because that's really just a good blanket statement. It's probably always true. You're tempted to do something that you know is wrong. You feel it's wrong, but how much damage can it really do? Well, that's between you and your creator. That's who that's between. And if you allow, see, the devil can't make you do anything. That's something a lot of people forget too. They put on their armor of God, which is good. It protects you. But at the same time, the devil tempted Jesus 3 times in the 40 days in the desert, right? Tempted him. Didn't hang him over a cliff. Didn't have a snake run up his leg and bite him in the head and try to kill him, right? Tempted him. Tempted him. Great song, by the way, Tempted. But tempted him. It's always your choice. You. I'm talking to you. It's your choice to make the right decisions and choices in your life. And how you do that, self-included, I'm there with you. How you and I, as individuals, make these choices, it affects us in our lives. And, yes, the world. Believe it or not, it affects the world. You're a lot more significant than you realize. Hopefully, we all realize how great we are. Because it's an important part of this journey that we're on right now. Huge part of this journey we're on right now. Judge overseeing the fake elector case has recused himself. This is the judge in Arizona, fake elector case. He apparently, this Judge Cohen, he has apparently posted charged statements online, I think, while this case has been going on. And they say, while Judge Cohen is entitled to his political opinions and speech, of course, his rhetoric and exhortation precisely mirrors the evidence of hostile partisan political zealotry at the heart of the motions to dismiss that have been languishing before the court for months. Judge Cohen's impartiality can readily be questioned because of his apparent personal prejudice against President Trump and his supporters. We are changing things. And we'll continue to do that. What's this? Oh, yeah. Let's find out what this is. Bidders interested in acquiring the media company founded by conspiracy theorist Alex Jones are going to be deciding the future fate of Alex Jones's brand. I mean, he can rename it and be his own person. They can't force him, they can't own him in anything he does. So if he makes up a name, Inkle Uncleberg, and starts broadcasting under that and calls it de-info or disinfo wars, or whatever. Just be a dick. Okay? What's to stop him? And by the way, any of you guys I'd look into disinfo wars. I don't know if InfoWars, Alex was probably smart and already looked for all the different variants of websites that he could own and just make sure there's no websites on them. Whatever. But whoever wins this, there's rumor that obviously some rich people on the left, I want to say Stone was one of them. I don't want to say Oliver, but I forget drawing a blank on his first name. Stone, whatever his first name is, the lawyer guy that always wears striped suits. He's talked about possibly buying this. I think. Was it him or was it he can't have I tried to put people together. That's what it was. That's the story I'm thinking of. There was another billionaire guy that was talking about maybe buying it too, or it might have been the Shark Tank guy, which I don't know if I'd trust, but whatever. I'm fuzzy on all these data points, obviously. Fact check me horribly on this story. But yeah, all said, he's going into auction. Supposedly that's happening based off the actual story Wednesday. Today. So we'll see what happens, or yesterday, depending on where you watch this. Probably half my views. The first 24 hours is where 2/3 of my views come from. roughly. All right. 2 killed in a Louisville factory explosion. 1 victim found hours later in the rubble. They didn't know what happened to them. They did a quick head count of like all the people that were working. Like, everybody's safe. They're like, oh, Jordan hasn't checked in? I don't think his name was Jordan. But so-and-so hasn't checked in. Oh, shit. And they went looking for him. And so-and-so was in the rubble and not in a heap of trouble because he was very dead. So it was very sad. So very, very sad. And I can't help the fact that I was thinking the Barney Rubble trouble the whole time. It's a Ocean's 11 or 12 or 13, one of those stupid movies. All sad. Very sad. We can play this. I don't think it helps a lot. It didn't answer any questions. This building exploded like so loud that it blew out windows in a coffee shop. There was images of that, which was weird. I don't know how explosions work when they're like sonic like that, but it blew the glass out, which I thought was strange. I mean, it was definitely from this thing happening, but I would have thought it would the pressure wave would have pushed the glass in and blown it inward, but seems to have blown out. All the glass fragments were on the outside. Maybe it just cracked. I don't know, but it was a crazy explosion. And we don't have anything from the explosion, and they put the fire out, it seems, already. This happened later yesterday, but jacked this building, obviously. And I think the company, which a lot of people are like obviously going to be, Dan, where the hell, what is this? Tuesday at the Gevadin Sense Color Factory. That's color spelled C-O-L-O-U-R. Was it British? But yeah, this 3 p.m. yesterday on Tuesday, the Gevadin Sense Color Factory. Don't know. Blew up big time though. It's huge. You guys see it. So I don't know what the frick they were doing there. Makes me wonder. Almost wondered too. I mean, is there a crater inside there? Did something come down maybe on anything's possible these days. DNA testing company terminates 40% of its employees. 23andMe. If you guys gave your genetic information to any company, sorry, that was probably not a good idea, but hopefully we'll see how it works out. What's funny is this is a great example of one of the reasons why you should be concerned with what they might offer or what they, quote, will claim they can do. Genetic testing company 23andMe, they're letting go of 40% of their people. They're trying to cut a bunch of money. They're expecting a bunch of one-time payoffs and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be expensive up front, and then they should start to be better. They've supposedly got some therapeutic programs that use, one, an antibody to restore the immune system's ability to kill cancer cells. Another program involves the use of an antibody that aims to restore anti-tumor immunity. They want to give you things specifically around cancer that are tied to your genetics. Now, that could be a good thing. But if it was a good thing, wouldn't you think God would, to simplify, don't you think Source Universe God would make sure that this company continued to do well? But instead, they don't. Now, I think many of us definitely understand that they're just trying to get your genetic information, that China most likely took a lot of this, that they're using this to make genetic weapons. I think there's specific genetic weapons that they're trying to give you to help you with immunity to cancer and cancer treatments. And shucks, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You just end up dying from cancer anyway. But it's tied genetically to you. That's a little freaky. I know they do that with chemo. Got a buddy going through it, and they took a bunch of his blood, and they supposedly build his own specific cocktail. It's kind of scary, but it is what they do. Justin Trudeau sparked a bunch of outrage after refusing to release the names of 900 alleged Nazi war criminals who fled to Canada after World War II. He refuses to let that information loose. Some of those guys could still be alive, though very doubtful, but that might be partially why. I'm sure a few of them still are. And that's a besmirched mark. Talk about, owning slaves and all this stuff. Yeah, we literally brought Nazis over. And then now we've got, Ukraine, which literally has Nazis in its military, and we're supporting them. It's just funny sometimes how those games play out. Yeah. Jack Teixeira, he's the Massachusetts Air National Guardsman who gave secrets away. Some say might have been a fall guy or a patsy. It's very possible. Whatever the case was, he was directly involved, or his user account, or him walking away from his computer and someone doing something, him doing something stupid. got him in a lot of trouble. He's going to have over 15 years or sentenced to 15 years in prison. They wanted him to have the maximum of 200 months, which would be more than 16 years, but it seems they went just a hair below that. I think a lot of people, I don't know, want to feel bad for him because, yeah, he wasn't probably the guy that did what he did. He got side railed, and he's had the opportunity to prove otherwise, but he supposedly had these documents on his actual, I think, personal person or the device, whatever the case was. I think this dude's guilty. And again, money. And he probably wasn't getting very much because he was young, very young. So he didn't even know how to up the ante. So they loved his ass. He was probably cheap as F. And finally, a witness in Daniel Penny's trial apparently has admitted that he lied about his involvement and proves no good deeds go unpunished. So he basically says, yeah, I lied because I was afraid that people would be mad at me. He's scared to be on the stand, the party to potential acquittal of Penny, and what would that mean for this witness's personal safety? So he's afraid to say the truth because he might be attacked by what? All the people that want to make this a racial crime, right? They want to make this a racial crime. This white guy killed a black guy. Though the black guy was homeless, crazy, and threatening a bunch of people's lives, they don't want to see that. They don't care about those checkboxes. The only checkbox they care about is white guy, black guy. That's it. And this dude's worried for his life as a black guy. Right, wrong, and different. That's where this country is. That's the left for you, by the way. Not the right. We're not going to kill the guy. I mean, we're bummed that you're probably pussing out or lying or whatever. That totally bums us out. We'll pray for you, I'm sure. But I don't wish any harm on you, bro. And I get it. But it's the people on the left that would actually harm him, cancel him, whatever him. Or the criminal side, but whatever. Same thing, deep state. Tough times for a lot of us. Every single one of us is walking through this. I've said that before. We each have our own individual doorway. We've created that with the karma that we've laid out before the world, and karma is being cleansed right now at a very rapid pace, for that matter. The planet's part of that. The countries are part of that. Cities are part of that. Everything. The world is part of this. I don't know how fast this goes. It's not going to go as fast as I want it to. That's for sure. But we should be very far along within 2 years. And I do think these 2 years are going to be a lot of victories and some definite hard struggles and fights. And we'll definitely get there. Together, we will definitely get there. I plan on staying the whole pace with you guys. I hope you stay with me. And I hope you guys can do me a favor too. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe wherever you're watching this. Please, please. And also, if you could think of one person to share this video with or share my channel with, or even on your platforms. I'm not trying to ask you to necessarily do that, but somebody that you think might enjoy this. It'd be awesome to have some extra help in that regard. You guys, really, word of mouth is how I'm expecting this channel to grow, not from YouTube's algorithms or anyone's algorithms for that matter. It's going to be through word of mouth. And hopefully that's what makes the difference in the big picture. I feel like I got the audience I'm supposed to have, so I'm glad you guys are here. But I have a feeling this family is going to grow. So there's always room. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.